رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين. اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم. اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We said a very important part of management is planning. And inshallah we will talk about other elements. So planning, decision making, organization, leadership, using resources and making sure that we are moving towards achieving our goals. These are different things that we have to talk. When it comes about planning, we expanded because we thought this is important for even our personal life, that we plan everything and we don't leave it for chances. I mentioned few more points about planning. One is we have to be careful about every small portion of our time. It's not that only years matter or months matter or weeks matter. Every second matters. Imagine if you are, for example, taking exam and there is a limited time. Sometimes even few seconds can help you to answer more questions and maybe pass the exam. Sometimes you can fail because of you. Or when there is a race, you see sometimes the first person who finishes just few seconds or fractions of second qualifies that person for winning. Our ulama who have been successful have been very careful about their timing. Akhund Mullah Ali Hamedani, one of our great ulama, it is said that he had always a book with him. He had under his arm, always a book, that if there is a little free time, he doesn't just, waste his time. He was always able to read something. Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam said, "Inna umraka adadu anfasik wa alayha raqibun yuhsiha." Your life is certain number of opportunities that you have to breathe, and every time part of your life is consumed, and there is someone who is registering, so you cannot get extension, or just have it as much as you want. Then we said we have to take care of priorities. If you don't have priorities, if you don't do what is more important and do just what is important or what is not important, then you are wasting. As Amirul Mu'minin said, "Man ishtaghala bighayr al-muhim dhayya al-aham." Whoever engages with something which is not important has forsaken and wasted something which is more important. To do things in less time, not rushing. Rushing is bad. But if you can do something sooner, do it sooner. And then there are things that we have to find out based on your lifestyle, that these are enemies of time. These are things that waste our time a lot. Every person may be different, but we have some common problems. For example, unnecessary calls, unnecessary telephone calls, WhatsApps, chats, messages. This takes lots of time. And sometimes we feel these are actually very necessary. We are so much used to it, it's very difficult to understand what is necessary, what is not necessary. Once we had a conference in Oxford and we had discussion about this, and one person said something that I liked it. He said, it's good to have like a kind of sabbatical in order not to get too much used to it and make it habitual. If every day or every week you can have some time that you are offline. This helps a lot not to lose your control. For example, you say, this time on Friday I am offline. You don't need to announce people unless if they wonder why you don't respond, but at least for yourself. Or every day this time I'm not online. In the past, communication was difficult. You know, imagine you wanted to send a letter. To write a letter, and sometimes you had to draft the letter, then write it again, and go to the post office, post it, and takes some time. Now, alhamdulillah, it's easy, but this easy communication brings its own challenges. Now you have to do more and more, and people expect you to be instant. Why you didn't answer right away? And sometimes you don't have time to think, you just want to say something to make that person feel you respect that person. Anyway, so it's very important source of wastage of time if we are not managing our communications and our conversations. And this is in addition to the problems that it can make to our personal relations with people. That's another issue. Another thing that wastes our time is to embark on something when it is not prepared. Sometimes you see people take 5 years to make a project, because when they start the project, they start planning. They start looking for design, for map, for other things, for money. Sometimes people take 1 year to plan, and then in 6 months they finish the project. So we should not waste our time by embarking on something which is not yet ready, we are not clear. And this is a very important source of wastage. Another thing is not to waste your time with people who are not reasonable. There are people that are wasting our time. You don't feel any use in communicating to them. They have nothing to offer. And you don't feel, that you are also helping them. Sometimes I offer, I think I am helping. Sometimes I say, this person is not appreciating. Even I am, maybe feeling that I'm making that person more upset and more angry. Of course, your Islamic duty of Amr Ma'ruf, Irshad, all are there. But be careful about people who are just not productive to have relation with them. Another thing is media. I don't know, people are different. Some people spend lots of time on watching movies, watching TV, watching websites. I don't know, surfing websites, news. Everything has to have a clear, policy. We cannot ignore the news, but how much we have to spend on news? You should know. It's not that all of a sudden you come to yourself and say, oh, today I spent 5 hours on reading the news. And then for a few days you say, I don't want to know anything about the world. This ifrat and tafrit is not good. That either you do too much or too little. Like the person who was on the roof and someone told him, you are going to fall, go backwards. So he went so much backward that from other side of the roof, he fell down. I have heard many people, they say, it has become too much, I don't want to know anything about the world and about news. Maybe for some days it's okay, because sometimes you need some rest. But if you totally stop following up what is happening, it's not good. Because you have to know the world. But you have to manage. You have to identify reliable sources, or at least alternative unreliable sources, so that by putting them together you can get some general picture. But you are not a news analyst, you are not a politician, all of you, so you don't need to spend too much time on these things. The same with games and I don't know, this type of thing. You have to be very careful about your time. Another thing is to find what's the best time for everything. Suppose I'm a student. I have to study 4 or 5 hours, okay, or more. When? It's not just enough to say I spent 4 or 5 hours on a study. When you are fresh, a study. Sometimes, you know, when we start our day, by the time we realize we answer, you know, emails and, you know, calls and do this and do that, all our fresh time has gone. And when we are, you know, tired and sleepy, then we want to study. This is not good. You have to find out what time is better for your main aims, main activities. That's very important, especially for, you know, a study, for ibadah. It's very important to have the time that you are alert, you are, you know, fresh. We should have a list of our activities. And a good manager always should have this list in front of his eyes or her eyes, that what you want to do today, what you want to do this week, what are your deadlines, what you want to achieve, what your team has to achieve. So we should be careful about this. Even if you have great memory, don't rely only on your memory. Another thing is that when you plan, don't allow exceptions easily. You say, I am a flexible person. Okay, it's good to be flexible, because if you are too rigid, then sometimes you face problems, because there are things that are not foreseen, there are things which are not expected. Sometimes a good opportunity comes, a risk comes. You have to be flexible. But how much you want to be flexible? Especially people who are not very determined, sometimes 1, 2 exceptions in their plans can make the whole plan collapse. For example, I say from today, I want to spend every day half an hour on reflection, on muhasabatul nafs. Tonight I go, I am tired. Tomorrow I have to call someone. Thursday night we have masjid. Friday, I don't know, we go to Qabristan. So everything, these exceptions never stop. I want to do my salat on time. But now I have a meeting. Another time, you know, I have to make food for family. So these exceptions always come. So it's very important, if you have a plan, till you are fully in control of your plan and you are really sure that these exceptions are not going to stop you, don't accept exceptions. Many times we have started good plans, but then we didn't manage to finish. Another thing which is very important is barakah and tawfiq. Barakah and tawfiq are two spiritual elements in planning from Islamic perspective. There are people who plan and even they complete, but nothing good comes. Even for rizq, for business, for anything, for tabligh, for studies. But sometimes people with the same efforts or maybe less, you see lots of good comes. There is barakah in the work. Those who are secular, they don't understand what is barakah. If you say barakah, they don't understand. They say, we haven't studied this in our textbooks, in the university. There is no such a thing as barakah. Everything is just materialistic. But we are very much sure that the same material factors, depending on the approach of the person, the soul of the person, the intention of the person, the du'as of other people, the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, can have totally different results. A doctor who goes to his surgery and his intention is to help people in order to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a similarly qualified doctor who just goes there as a job and has no concern for health of people. This is my job, I am paid by that. We think in the way they diagnose, in the way they prescribe, in the way they talk to the patient, there can be big difference. Two alim, the same knowledge, but the impact that they can have on the lives of people can be different. It's not just knowledge, it's not just qualifications, it's not just your techniques. Barakah is something else. Barakah is abundant goodness, is khayr kathir, that you bring it with worldly things. You open this channel, this pack of mercy in dunya, but what Allah brings through that is totally different. You have to go to work, you have to, for example, open your shop, but how much you are going to get through this, barakah is very important. And therefore, if you want to be very successful, there are times that you have to be extra careful. You have to always be careful, but there are times that you have to be extra careful. Whenever you want to plan something, right at the time of planning. You want to start a business, you want to, buy something, sell something, make a travel, partnership, choose your career, choose your study subject. Right at the time of planning is one of the times that barakah can be secured. Because if anything from the time of planning is for the sake of Allah, with good intention, with sincerity, with wishing good for people, barakah can come. If I make a decision just for worldly reasons and later I want to bring barakah by having a dua and hadith kisa, it's not going to work. I start a business and I have no concern about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then I hold few majalis in my place, say barakah comes. Barakah, if you want, from the first moment you start planning, either dedicate to Allah if you can, if not, at least involve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They say one of greatest scholars, I think was, if I'm not mistaken, was Sheikh Ja'far al-Shushtari. He was very spiritual. He has some books on Imam Hussein, like Khasa'is al-Husayniyah. So once he went on member, sat on member and said, all the prophets, all the messengers, all awliyaullah have said to be pure, mukhlis. I say, be mushrik. And the people were surprised. He said, they said, dedicate everything to Allah. I say, be mushrik means at least dedicate part of it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have become mukhlis in the sense of giving all to other than Allah. So at least give part of it. At least 10% of your intention should be for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If not 100%. So, when you want to plan something, that's the best time to bring barakah. But then, when you proceed, when you employ people, when you, I don't know, take loans from the bank, I don't know, whenever you decide about salaries, about how to pay off your, debts or anything. But when you plan, especially, it's very important time. And then there are also times that barakah of Allah is more. Like for example, month of Ramadan is the month of barakah. أقبل إليكم شهر الله بالبركة والرحمة والمغفرة. Days of Eid, day of Jum'ah, night of Jum'ah. So if you can make your best thinking and planning in these great times. Alhamdulillah, in our community, when we want to have marry, when we want to do something good, we try to somehow make it in these times. This is not just formality. These really have impact on bringing barakah. Having wuzu. You can always have wuzu, and al-wuzu nurun. Wuzu is always light. You go to shop, have wuzu. Say, I don't touch my business without wuzu. I don't touch my, desk as a teacher without wuzu. If you look at your job in this way, then your job becomes sacred. Who makes your job sacred? You can make your job sacred. I am going to clean, my home. I am going to drive. Anything, I'm going to bake. I do it with wuzu. This brings barakah. But I have to make sure that I have understanding of wuzu, not that becomes a routine that I don't pay attention. I'm going to now cheat and I have wuzu. I'm going to tell lies and I have wuzu. I am going to, backbite and I have wuzu. Even I have ghusl Jum'ah. Unfortunately, these things sometimes become routines. We don't pay attention. But when you make wuzu, means you are like a person who has washed himself very carefully and now is outside, careful not to be touched by anything dirty. Wuzu is this kind of tahara. And then tawfiq. We can say a lot about, barakah, saliyya rahim, all these things that bring barakah, but our time is very limited. I want to say something about tawfiq. Alhamdulillah, we had, I think, 2-3 sessions in Hosea on tawfiq and akhlaq, so people can also follow that. But I mentioned just some hadith about tawfiq. What is tawfiq? Tawfiq in Arabic means bringing things together. Wifaq, muwafaqa, tawafuq, means like agreeing. When you bring opinions together, when you bring people together, this is all tawfiq. But technically, when we say tawfiq, it means that those factors that are required for success, if they come together, this is tawfiq. For example, I want to study. I want to go to Hosea for a study. But my decision is not enough, because we don't live in vacuum. Many, many things have to come together so that I can do what I want. Maybe I am not healthy. Maybe I have family problems. Maybe there is no hose. Maybe there is no teacher. Maybe there is no security. Maybe I don't have money to go there. Maybe there is no visa. There are so many things. When all these come together and I can study, then I can say, Alhamdulillah, I have tawfiq to study. I want to write a book which is useful for people. I need knowledge. I need expertise. I need to know how to write. I need to know how to organize. But many times people have all this, but they don't have tawfiq. So many things happen that stops them. You see, Sheikh Abbas Qummi, rahmatullah alayh, he was not the most knowledgeable person in our history. He was a knowledgeable person, but you cannot say he was the most knowledgeable person. And even I think there is no problem, Allah knows, to say that he was not the most pious person in all history of the Shia. But for some reason he had this tawfiq that he compiled Mafatihul Janan. And I don't think any book written or compiled by any person other than Ma'soom has been so much useful and beneficial. Especially a book that people use in their most sacred times and places. Yeah? You know, you can write a book on aqaid, which is very good, alhamdulillah. But it's different from the book that people in Laylatul Jummah, in, I don't know, Du'a al-Nudba, Du'a al-Samat, they go for ziyarah, they massage it. Everyone in the best time of the day, they use this dua. Best time of the year, they use this book. Many books were before him by great scholars, and for centuries they were used. Like Iqbal by Sayyid Tawus, Misbah by Kafhami, Misbah al-Mutahajjid by Sheikh Tusi. They have been used, and of course they also inshallah get reward because they are sources of mafati. But Allah somehow blessed this person with this tawfiq. How many thousands of times this book has been reproduced? In how many languages? Part of it was his sincerity, but there must be many factors. It is said that Sheikh Abbas was not that much known to his own father. So, you know, one of the books of Sheikh Abbas Qummi is, he has something about the hereafter, Zadul Ma'ad. He has, you know, summarized or written something about the hereafter. Once he was with his father, and someone was on Member and was quoting from the book of Sheikh Abbas Ummi, but not mentioning the name, and saying there is such a book, and you know, and his father told him, you know, I want you to become like the author of this book. Look, everyone is benefiting. And he didn't say it's my book. He had all the reasons to make his father happy. He say, this is my book, father. You know? But he was so sincere that he didn't say even to his father, this is my book. So Allah gave him this tawfiq. And there are many examples, alhamdulillah, you have seen. For example, Allama Tabatabai. I don't think any person in the Shia community, and any person even in the Sunni community, if they want to do tafsir properly, They can do anything without reading Al-Mizan, without checking what Allama Tabatabai is saying. This is tawfiq. And many examples of like that. Let's read some hadith. Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam said, At-tawfiqu inayatun. Tawfiq is a special gift, a special blessing that Allah gives. At-tawfiqu rahmatun. Tawfiq is a kind of mercy, a kind of rahmah. Rahmah does many things. One of it is that brings things together, things which are not all under your control. لا ينفع اجتهاد بغير توفيق. No matter how much you work, how hard you work, if there is no tawfiq, it's not going to benefit. لا ينفع اجتهاد means hard working is not going to benefit without tawfiq. Get it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you see you are not succeeding, see what is blocking tawfiq. In the lectures in the Hujjat, I explained there are factors that bring tawfiq and there are factors that block tawfiq. One of the factors that give tawfiq is respect to the parents, to the elders, and to the teachers, to ulama. Especially for students, respect for their teachers is very, very important. Brings tawfiq. And displeasing parents, elderly members of community, family, teachers, ulama, blocks tawfiq. Amir al-Mu'minin said, La qa'ida kat tawfiq. There is no leader like tawfiq. Tawfiq pushes you gently to your success. It's like a nice wind that puts you in the right direction. من التوفيق الوقوف عند الحيرة. A very important element in tawfiq is when you are not sure, you stop. When there is confusion, you stop. Don't say, I have to move. You are on the crossroad. Say, I have to move. No, first understand what's the right road. Don't just go. Say, because I have to move. You have to wait till it becomes clear. Amir al-Mu'minin also said, At-tawfiqu mumiddul aql. Tawfiq assists intellect. If you are very wise, very rational, very intelligent, but you need tawfiq, otherwise you don't get it right. You make funny mistakes sometimes. Sometimes people who are too proud make very funny mistakes to give a lesson to themselves and others. Ayyuhan nas, innahu man istansaha Allah wuffiqah. Amirul Mu'minin says, O people, whoever asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the good, ask Allah to be in charge of his affair and bring good for him, he will be given tawfiq. وَمَنِ اتَّخَذَ قَوْلَهُ دَلِيلًا. And whoever takes Allah's word as his guide, هُدِيَ لِلَّتِي هِيَ أَقْوَمُ, would be guided to the best, to the most upright path. فَإِنَّ جَارَ اللَّهِ آمِنٌ. The one who has taken jawar, taken refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is safe. وَعَدُوَّهُ خَائِفٌ. The one who has showed enmity to Allah is in fear. And there are much more, but our time is over. So in addition to everything that other people do for worldly success, we believe that there are more factors that can help us with success, and sometimes these can make your success go beyond expectations, beyond what an ordinary human being can do. Sometimes with your talents, with your skills, with your money, with your own planning, Allah can bring good to millions of people, hundreds of millions of people. Don't limit your ambition and narrow your ambition. Dedicate everything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, oh Allah, use me in the way that you like. Show me what I should do, but then take this as your work. I want my work to be your work. If it's my work, it's limited. But if I am working for you, then there is no limit. This approach to everything will help. No matter it is business, it's, I don't know, job, it's religious, tabligh, whatever. If we have this right approach, it will help a lot. May Allah inshallah give you barakah and tawfiq in all you do. Inshallah. Allah.